and Lord alone know which list. They have about 10 lists. You have more than one party card. You get a party card even though you didn't want it. You pay your membership fee, you never get your card. Your lifetime membership like mine all of a sudden not valid, you get kicked off. I don't want you to worry. The elections is coming, let it come. We will be prepared. You go and vote. Vote generation next in. If they tell you at the time, you have a card. Your card have Mr. Pandey face on it, which means that I wasn't probably even born in time to get that kind of card. They say that's invalid. That's no problem. Don't kick up us and make all it. You go, we will have a complaints form. Before that, I want you, any problem you have to call the Basil Pandey Foundation, because I realize people in this party are afraid of the leaders and people in charge of this party, people with power. They're afraid of them. They're afraid of being victimized, like they were going to be victimized under the PNM. And so I say call the Basil Pandey Foundation, 6363507. Any problem you have, and come and tell us. Contact us. Not a problem. Turn up on polling day. Go put your X next to the generation next slate. Do not be afraid of victimization. When you go inside that polling booth, nobody will see you. And at the end of the day, generation here is here to work for you and to protect you. I thank you. And God bless.
Thank you, Nikhila. Dave Tanku, Devendranath Tanku. As mentioned, he's the General Secretary of the party, yet he is employed in the Prime Minister's office. And I have a few things with Dave Tanku that I wrote him a letter with regard to some people wanting certain things and so on. That is probably sometime in August, September 2010. And to my surprise, the office couldn't find the letter. But you know, some of us, we keep files and so on, and we have copies. So I faxed another copy to him. And I'm still waiting on his response today. That is the kind of mismanagement from the General Secretary of the party. So imagine what is going on to the rest of the National Executive members. Nevertheless, brothers and sisters, I have been wondering for quite a while. The first time I heard that the former mayor of San Fernando City Corporation was appointed to Deco. I mean, we all were concerned about that. But the real concern I had was who on the national executive, or is it the national executive that gave a directive to the DECO board to appoint the gentleman? A PNM. Another one. Who on the national executive, or is it that the national executive directed someone in the Ministry of Works to give a former general elections PNM candidate for Couva South contract to brush cut around the street lights on the highway? A PNM? Who in the executive does all this kind of thing? And we, the grassroots and the members of the United National Congress, can't get that. A contract. Somebody had to stoop, somebody had to pay everything and all that, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Nevertheless, brothers and sisters, I feel overwhelmed at this moment, really, truly, to have the privilege to introduce a person who is dubbed as the best politician in the Caribbean, who is the silver fox of the politics in Trinidad and Tobago. He has been said to be the best Prime Minister this country has ever had during the period 1995 to 2001. It gives me great honor and privilege to introduce the next speaker. Let us all stand to introduce to the podium the Honorable
Brothers and sisters, let let me make it absolutely clear from the word go. Generation Next was not born to destroy or weaken the government. In fact, Generation Next was born to save the next government. Because wherever I go, people say, if this PP government continues the way it is going on, then it is most likely that the PNM is going to win the next elections. And we can't take PNM on the chest for another 5 years. How therefore do we prevent the PNM from coming back into office? You remember when Robinson in 1985 won with the ONR won 33 seats. In 1991, he lost 31 of them. He won 2 seats only. All this big seat, amount of seats he had in Parliament, in 5 years' time, the party was destroyed. The party was destroyed because Robinson played fool. And if the party was strong enough, it would not have allowed Robinson to play the fool, and today the NAR would have still been in power. But no, the party wasn't strong enough, and the party allowed him to play the fool, and the PNM won the next election, and we had PNM on our chest for 10 years after that. Yes, I think it's 9 years. So that what we are doing now is we are saying that we have to prevent the PNM from getting into power. And the only way to prevent the PNM from getting into power is to put this government on the right track. Let them do the things they have to do. That is all. But how can we do that? How can we put this government on the right track when the party is in the grips of the very ministers who play the fool? Right now, the Kedas told you, 5 or 6 ministers are members of the National Executive, and they're going back up again, they want to go again. But if the minister is in control of this is the National Executive, and if the minister is in control of the National Executive and holding it so, how can the National Executive speak to the government? The government has its hands around the throat of the organ of the party that speaks for the party. The National Executive speaks for the party, but it is in the grip and control of the ministers. How can they criticize the ministers? How can they tell them they're on the wrong road? All we are doing in this election is we are pulling the party away from the grips of the government so that the party will be here and the government will be there and the party can speak to the government. That is what this exercise is about. Quite a simple exercise. And I will show you how this party has become so weak and voiceless because the hand is around its throat. I'll show you. It is so easy. All you have to do is to look and see what is happening. Makanda Dada, I think it was earlier this year, after being in office for less than a year, Makanda Dada, who is one of the units, one of the parts of the PP government, Makanda Dada made a public statement saying that he has never seen so much corruption in such a short period of time as under the PP government. I can say so. Makanda Dada said so. And Makanda Dada's statement was repeated by the International Perception Index. That is to say, it is a world body that looks at countries to see who is perceived as the most corrupt. And the International Perception Index rated this government as the most corrupt government this country has ever seen. Now, if all that is going on, where is the voice of the UNC? I haven't heard the UNC talk about that. Are you concerned about that? Are you not concerned that this corruption which is taking place is denying your children the right to have proper road? Do you know today, I come in on the radio tonight, listening to the radio. There's demonstration in Maruga. There's demonstration somewhere else. Somebody complaining that he has so much pothole. He's driving along the road and suddenly he finds he can't have no wheel. He calls you and drop off. They go along in some hole or the other. And the Prime Minister spends $233,000 to carry his sister in India. And you can't fix her, you have no money. That is it. I also on the radio come out say, what do people want? We have no money, how are we going to fix it? Where is the voice of the UNC? Why is it not speaking? It cannot speak because it has a hand around its throat. The MSJ, another partner to the BP, but that name is so apt and descriptive. Is that BP government? The MSJ is part of the BP government. And the MSJ, which is MacLeod and David Abdullah, have spoken out only 2 days ago on the papers, in which Abdullah, I'm reading it. I'm reading exactly as I wrote it, as I see it in the papers and typed it. They're threatening to leave the government unless the government keeps its promises. And what are the promises they're talking about? Let me go. Abdullah, that's David Abdullah, also said of the major concerns to the MSJ, the Movement for National Justice, of which he is the political leader. He said that they're objecting to the odious system of contract labor. That is, instead of giving people permanent employment, they're putting them on contract. So they could either get bribed to renew the contract, or they could tell them, if you don't listen to me and if you don't do what I do, no contract. And particularly in the public service. Contract labor in the public. I'm not saying that, that is the MSJ saying that. And in the state sector. They are angry because the government has no agenda for labor. No labor law. They are angry because of privatization of state entities such as Petrotrin and the First Citizens Bank. They are angry because the governments had spoken, this PP had spoken of political and local government reforms. There has not been any. They are not touching it. They are complaining of political victimization and corruption, nepotism and patronage. You know what I mean? Well, victimization, you know, because you are the recipient of that every day of the week, whole day. You are the recipient of that, being victimized. You and your family, because you are sucking somebody's toenail. Right? Nepotism. That is, they're giving every day they're giving to different families. Your family could go and live in the Prime Minister's residence. Go and live and live. You pay for them to eat and sleep and drive in motor car. And I understand there's even used the helicopter. You pay for that. That is what the MSJ is complaining about. Nepotism. That's what nepotism is about. And patronage. That is, they get into their friends and so on, contracts and so on. They are also angry about the failure of the government to implement cultural sector agendas, as stated in the manifesto. They are angry about the use of the government using police, using the force of the police to prevent legitimate and peaceful activities of civil society. Well, you know, you understand what they're saying? They are blaming, not me. Their own partner saying that they're creating a police state. That if they don't like you, they will lock you up. Everybody in this country is afraid. I don't know if it's true, but everybody in this country is afraid that they tap in their phone. People call me on the phone and they say, hey, boy, I better be careful. I'm not telling you, yes, I saw they tap in this thing. where the issue is not affairs in the mind of people. People are frightened, they're living in a frightened society. Is that what you voted for? A society in which your children and you will live in fear? But where is your voice? I didn't hear your voice. You haven't spoken, the UNC hasn't spoken. Everybody else talking beside the UNC. Why? Because you are in the grip of the government ministers. I'm sure my partners and them from your village who sit down in the back there know that what I'm saying is correct. If I say one lie tonight, stand up right there and tell me what's your line. And I will change my mind and apologize to you for lying. What is happening is that they say that the government using police to beat up people when they demonstrated for their rights lawfully. And he also talked about the disregard and disrespect for farmers as demonstrated when they bulldoze people's crops. You remember the paper that day not too long ago. People plant their crops. Oh God, give them a chance to reap it. No, they bulldoze it. And who bulldozed it? Rudolph Munilal, the Minister of Responsible for Housing, went and bulldozed people land. Well, the MSA is complaining about that. All I ask you is, where was your voice? Where's the voice of the UNC? The UNC has no voice because it has a hand around its throat. And that is what we are trying to do tonight. We are trying to tell you, release yourself so that you will have a voice, so that you can speak as the UNC and say, we in the UNC are also against corruption. We in the UNC are also against bulldozing people land. When I was in office as Prime Minister from 1995 to 2001, we did not bulldoze a single block of land. We did not knock down a single shack of land. You don't have to do that. If you run a government properly, you don't have to do that. So Abdullah and them complaining about all this thing. And why how come Abdullah only now know this? Abdullah only now find out that all these things going on? You know why they haven't been complaining before? They haven't been complaining before because they love the office too much. They like the blue lights. They like the blue light, and they like to travel in government car with blue light and shining and so on, and police motorbike in front and that sort of thing. They like that so much. MacLeod gave up leadership of the MSK to hold on to that office of Minister of Labour. Federal gave up their grandmother, not only their political leadership, they gave up their grandmother in order to hold on to that office. They now find out because people telling them, all you belong to a corrupt government and all you equally corrupt. You can't take that. The only people who is like the UNC, I find, is the COP. I have not heard the COP comment on the corruption that is taking place. And not corruption stated by Pandey, corruption stated by Makanda data and by the International Perception of Corruption Index. Them fellas love office more than they love their wife. I'm telling you. They're not giving up office, they're afraid to open them out. Because the Prime Minister can say, you're not minister tomorrow. I remember how they used to talk. I am not hearing a single word from the cop about this corruption and this nepotism and all this brutalization of the working people. My brothers and sisters, it is because they are afraid to lose office, that is clear. But you have nothing to lose. I could understand the cop talking. Because if the cop talking, that's because they're afraid to lose office. But what you have to lose, you have nothing. You have nothing. has come for the UNC to speak. And that is why we are doing what we are doing. After the last elections, when I did not contest elections, I have said I have nothing, I'll give up what is called electoral politics. Electoral politics means, I define politics in two ways. Electoral politics and non-electoral politics. Electoral politics is when you're going up for elections and so on. I have done that. I've been in Parliament for 35 consecutive years. I decided I won't go up for office. I don't want any office anymore. I've had enough. But I have devoted my life to improving people's condition. I spent 45 years doing that. All my adult life have been spent fighting for people's condition, and that I will never give up. And that is why I stand here today, looking younger than most all in the audience. You better do challenge me to a race around the block here. That is what we are doing. What we are doing is, we are saying, let us take back the UNC. And the only way to take back, we want to overthrow our government, we want to make sure they stay there. But they must stay there and go on the right. They can't continue doing what they do. They can't. And you can't keep saying, I am advised. I am advised. Every damn thing they ask you, I am advised. And first of all, who the hell advised you? We'd like to know. Who's advising you? I am advised. And you know what that means? That means you know what to say. And therefore, I am advised. Anything that comes out of my mouth, it didn't mean to say it. I am advised. Somebody tell me say it, so that's what I say. That's all that to me, that's stupidness. You can't. I tell her that she wasn't ready, you know. All right. I thought she'd have been ready. If she could have get a monkey off she back. Again, trouble for making that statement before. Why has the UNC not spoken about bulldozing people now? Because we can't talk. Why has it not spoken about flooding? Why has it not spoken about the bad roads and drains and other infrastructure? It can't talk. So instead of talking, you know what it is doing? Demonstrating, burning tire in the road. Burning tires in the road and blocking the road. That is what it has to do. And when that's over, there will be revolution in this country. That is what we are heading for, unless we take over the party and put the government on the right road. Now, Michael told you, even MacLeod gave up the leadership of his party and said, I can't handle both. I can't handle the ministry and the political party at the same time. But you know what happened? Not the UNC. The UNC ministers, all of them want to be political leader. If I was Kamala, I would have fled them fellas kill me. All of them waited for she to die. All of them want to be deputy political leader. Why? Because when the political leader go on, they are there. And why they want to be political leader? Sorry, bro. Follow me. Herbert for me. Who joined the party so he could get a seat. I made sure he paid dues. I joined the party so that he could get a seat in 2010. And he wanted to be political leader, deputy political leader of this party. Does he know how this party come? Does he know how much blood and sweat and tears you and your children have spent in order to bring this party where for 22 years you nurtured this party? 22 years. He come, he wanted to be the political leader, These people so blasted, bold-faced. I can't understand it. They're shameless. And who wants to be political leader again? Suraj Rambajan. He is Minister of Foreign Affairs and Communications. Now, the man wouldn't tell the truth about how he got a PhD. He claiming to have a PhD. And when they ask him, where you teach pay $39.95 plus shipping and handling for the certificate. You cannot lie about a thing like that. My brothers and sisters, when I went to India, an honorary doctorate was bestowed upon me by the University of Benares. You see me carry doctor in front of my name? I don't carry doctor in front of my name. So if I could have buy one for $39.95 plus shipping and handling, I get it for free and I still, I don't carry it. I don't deserve to carry that. Who again want to be deputy? That's the coming elections I'm talking about, you know. Rudal Munilal, Minister of Housing. The Ministry of Housing is one of the most corrupt ministries this government has within. It used to be the most corrupt under the PNM. And it was corrupt because they wanted to give houses to their friends. And they invented a stupid system, some kind of lottery system, where they have some wheel, they'll turn and some, how do they call that thing? What do they tell them? You know, but they have a system, a lottery kind of system, to choose the names of people who will get housed. That was the PNM. But how you name what on the list in the first place, nobody knew. So they put who name they want on the list, and they just pin this thing. Whoever come out and so on. Rudal Munilal, which is the most corrupt system, Rudal Munilal has retained that exact system in order to distribute houses. Houses must not, state housing, that is energy housing, must not be distributed on the state, on the basis of luck. It must be distributed on the basis of need. Those who need most must get first. That is who must get house. Instead of giving you a friend and their family and so on. And if they can't find a good enough house for you, you could live in the Prime Minister's residence. At state expense. And Rudal Munilal wants to be deputy political leader. Mick has told you that after I gave up the electoral politics, I opened an office in the Realty Complex, and I opened a thing called the Basil Pandey Foundation, in which I go there to help people free of charge. I don't charge anybody. And they come for all kind of advice, legal advice, about their hard land and their family and whatever it is, and I give them free legal advice. One of the biggest problems that people come to that office with is housing. People applied for housing 10, 15 years ago, and they cannot find out what is the state of their application. I have written over 35 to 40 letters in my own hand. I drafted them myself, typed it out and so on, to Rudal Munilal. Over 35 to 40 letters asking him, on behalf of people, please tell me what is the state of this person's application. And please tell me the criteria you are using in order to distribute houses. And we could never get a proper answer. And he wants to be your deputy political leader. Also at the Realty Complex, in my little office, which is Basil Pandey Foundation, a man came to see, and as fate would have it, you know that same man came back to me. And you know that was about 4 or 5 months ago. In the office, a man came to me, and he said, Mr. Pandey, I want you to make an appointment for me to see Dr. Munilal. I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from Munilal constituency, and I'm down in David down there. I said, you leave down there, his office is there, you come quite up to the Couva for me to make an appointment for you to see him. Why don't you go to his office and say you want to see him? He said, I'm not. I said, I'm well. And what happened? He said, tell me, leave me phone number. And when he has time, he will contact me. I said, okay, I'll try. So I take up the phone, and I phoned Munilal office. I said, I'm trying to make an appointment from Mr. So to see Mr. The minister, his parliamentary representative. And they said, well, send him down here and let him give his name. I said, but he did that. They say, well, he should leave his telephone number. So you do that too? They say, well, we're going to contact him and as soon as we have time. I said, well, that happened 3 months ago. And you haven't contacted him yet. You know what that man wanted to see Dr. Munilal for? He had a brother who was dying in Canada. And he wanted to get a visa from the Canadian embassy to go and see his brother. And when he went in the Canadian embassy told him, listen, you know how when you treat this stuff, you're smart like everybody saying so, and when you go up there, you're scared and so on. Get a letter from your parliamentary representative saying that he knows that you have a brother in Canada, and he knows the brother is sick and you want to see him, and that you will return. I said, that's all I wanted to see him for. Up to this day, this man has not seen Dr. Munilal. And as fate will have it, today is one of the days I go to the office. And I was in the Pastor Pandey Foundation today. And that man came to the office today. To tell me what? He hasn't seen Munilal yet. And he wants to be a political leader. He hasn't got time to see his own constituents. My brothers and sisters, if you want that, have it, you know. I am only presenting before you an opportunity for you to change your life and change what has happened to you. If you don't want it, that's okay by me. And you know who want to be chairman? Jack Warner. Well, you hear all them names I just called him? If all of them fellas will, how are we going to explain that to FIFA? How are we going to explain that to the Soca warriors? How are we going to explain that to Couva? What you going to do? So tell them, Couva, I'm sorry. To Haiti. How you going to tell that to Haiti? You're going to sing that guy so, Haiti, I'm sorry. But they will rather not do that. They will rather not do that. They want to be the officers who will run your unit or your party. But what's the General Secretary of the party supposed to be there controlling the party and making the party show goes correctly and so on. You know who is the secretary of this party? Dave Tanku. And Dave Tanku has a permanent job at the Prime Minister's office. So you want to complain, you have to go to Dave Tanku to complain against one of the ministers in the Prime Minister's cabinet. My brothers and sisters, when will you learn? When will you learn? If these people control your party, how can you ever speak to the government? You will never be able to speak to the government. Everywhere we have gone and talked to people, they say we support you, yeah? But we're afraid. We're afraid they're going to victimize us. We're afraid victimization. And as I say, I regret the day that I had a part in putting into place a government that has brought so much fear and terror into the society. So I tell you, the way you're going to win this election, you're not going to get big crowds at meetings, people afraid to come out. You have to phone them or go to house and tell them that when they go out and vote, it will be a secret ballot. In a school like this, one of these schools may be the place where you have to go to vote on the 24th of March. And then you go there, there will be a secret place just like elections, and you'll get a ballot paper, and then you go on the ballot paper and you'll put your X and the X will go into the box. Nobody will know how you vote. So tell people they cannot victimize you for voting for Generation Next. Tell them that, make sure, and if you do that, you'll win the election. If they don't thief, that is. And thief, they go to thief. They're going to do everything in the world to thief. You know, they got caught. They didn't believe they will get caught. Hey, give me a chance now. Yeah, I'll bring it up here to talk. going to say, tell people they need not fear. And I also was going to talk about skipping the elections. They stole the last elections. You know how they did it? And we didn't complain. I didn't want them people to say, I want power, and that's why I'm contesting, going to court and that sort of thing. The evening before, the night before, they published a completely new list. And that is the list that they gave to the polling clerks and so on who were taking the elections. And many people therefore went on those lists and couldn't find their names because they took it off. Well, they made a mistake. They took off plenty of people later. Then calling. They made a mistake by taking off Mick's name, Michaela's name. And when it was discovered, they're so damn stupid. They know, when Michaela go to sign nomination papers, she can't sign. Because in order to sign the nomination papers, your name must be on the list. And you have to get 50 people to sign your nomination papers, and then 35 have got to also be on the list. No matter how we ask them, they won't give us a list. They refuse to give us a list so that we can check. But there's an elections in this party of one man, one vote, but you can't get a list. And only people on the list could vote. So when they discovered that they made a faux pas, that they made a damn stupid mistake by leaving out her name, because that one would be known for the people there, other people there following along. They decided that they're going to publish another list. I don't know if they're going to put your name on the list. I think that's what they were planning. But today was the last day, or today they're supposed to publish this, am I right? Up to 4 o'clock today, we can't find no list. So she doesn't know how, whether her name is on the list. So, I am worried. If they could publish a list now, that means they could publish a list every 3 minutes. What kind of election is that going to be? So that they intend to steal elections, we know that. There are people who have 3 and 4 party cards with different, same name, different numbers. What does that mean? That people could vote 3 and 4 times? But there are people, and I received some of those cards today, there are people who did not apply for any membership of the party and who got cards. And some of them have brought in their cards to me. I'm keeping it in my back pocket. It is upon that basis that we shall apply to the court, if they steal these elections, to have these elections declared fraudulent, null and void. So that is what they are doing in order to win these elections. Ladies at the back who belong to the branch, the constituent executive, help me. You have this? Let me see it. Do I want to see Michaela name on it? No, I am blaming you. You are know this. And you know that? They have done the publish. They're going to publish a new one at the end.
I'm going to live fire. Okay?
No, don't give your life for me. I want you to live in me. I want you dead. I want you vote.
I am.
All right, Trevor. So, brothers, I know that's my friend. That's my friend, you know. It's only a friend I don't put into enemies, but that's my friend, right? Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you is, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You may lose the war, but you shall win the battle. Because after this exercise, everybody will know that those people who are running the UNC are corrupt, and crooked, and dishonest. So we are going to go through with these elections come hell or high water. We are going to go through with them. We are not going to back out. And after the elections, we are going to have enough evidence, and my advice to you, as your advisor will be, to go to court, to have the court declare. And when you go to court, you will expose all of them. And the country will know the bunch of crooks you are dealing with. So, in any case, you're in a win-win situation. You're going to win. We tell them if you want to have free and fair elections, it's quite simple. Let us have a list, please. A final list of the people who will vote on election day. Let us have that. That's all we ask. Did you know what they said? They said, no. We are giving you notice. This is not a public document. This is a private document. But we are not the public. We are party members. We formed this party. We formed this party. We gave our life and blood to this party. We are not the public. We are party members. We have a team that's contesting the elections. They said, no, all this public. We are giving all the notice. They said they have over 50,000 names on the list. But they won't give you the name they wouldn't give you a list so you can determine who are there, who shouldn't be there, and who isn't there, who ought to have been there. They're not telling you that at all. But they say it's not for public consumption. Yet they say we stick up the list in several places. And if you want, you can go there and look for it. We've gone and stripped this museum. But the point is, if that is the case, any public could go look at it. Any public could go look at it. So how do you mean that it's not for public consumption? They're thieving. It's clear they want to thief. This time, it could be like last time. Yesterday was yesterday. So, we tell them that let us have a final list of all those who will vote, the 50,000, 60,000 of them, and set a new date for nomination and obviously elections, because you can't have nomination closing on the 18th and elections on the 24th, 18 and 220 and 424, 6 days of campaign. That can't be right. So that we say, you must guarantee us that there will be no change in that list before the election day. We want also that they allow Generation Next to have observer status on the elections committee. We want to be there to see what is going on. Because they are judges in their own cause. They're conducting elections in which they want to win. That can't be right. And they must give us an undertaking that there will be no victimization of people. So brothers and sisters, there you have it. Our task, as I said before, I'll tell you one other thing, how they're trying to frustrate us. They want us to give up. So they said they want our symbol. Anybody remembers these days? I can't remember these. They want our symbol on a certain day. They bring us on the morning and tell us that we have to give them by 4 o'clock or some kind of thing, give a symbol. So we hurriedly went and got a symbol. And you know what was the symbol? The symbol was a line drawn like that and rays of the sun. Just rays of the sun. We tell them that is our symbol. They ran us very near the closing time and said, we reject that symbol. You can't have that symbol. That is the symbol of the sun. You can't have it. So we said, all right, we will not let them frustrate us. We will put in a new symbol. And we went and put a new symbol. And you know what the new symbol now? The new symbol is a line, something that looked like half of a sun, but it shaded black. So this is our new symbol is the sun in eclipse. First it was the rays of the sun, now it's the sun in eclipse. They won't frustrate us. They don't know who they're dealing with. So you go to the elections. To get rid of this fear that existing in this society, you either have to go house to house, use the internet for people who couldn't have the internet, use the telephone. There are lists in the party office with them, telephone numbers and so on, and call people and tell people that they need not fear. That is what you have to do. You have to remove the fear from their minds. People are afraid. And it is understandable. In small societies like ours, the incidence of power is always very close to people's heads. These are not the United States where there's Washington, way up north, and there are people living in Miami, way down south. And the people in Miami are afraid that people in Washington, they're too far. Like in Trinidad, you're in Couva, then the SOBs in Paulus Bay right here. they victimize you so that tell people that they need not fear to be victimized. And let us carry this struggle to the end. Let us tell people they have an opportunity to better their lives. If they want their children to live in fear, at least we have provided them with an opportunity for change. So my brothers and sisters, have no fear. In this election, you stand tall. Stand tall!
Last but not least, brothers and sisters, I want to thank you very much for being a good